Welcome back to our monthly webinar. Today we are going to talk about banking. And if you have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat there and ask any questions. If you want to connect with anyone, I will give you a way to connect with folks on the all the GPs on the platform. So a little bit about what Cashier Portal does is we try to be an all-in-one solution for commercial real estate. So going from capital raising to CRM to sending marketing emails to starting with underwriting with fund admin, so that manage your funds. I just came from a demo, that's why I'm late, that talk about fund administration with like multiple fund of funds and multiple owner operated assets. So that's for kind of the big private equity firms. And then the thing that ties everything together is banking. So this is what this call is about. Why do you want banking? How does banking help you? How can it help you improve your backend process? Before that, I want to quickly talk about the vision, what Cashier Portal tried to do with banking in general. We liken ourselves to Toast, Toast. Toast is a software used by restaurants. It was started by two MIT grads that basically first created a POS system for the customers to pay at a restaurant. So they will swipe their card. A lot of you probably know about Toast. If you do, maybe put it in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. They swipe their card. They use Apple Pay and so on. This is for like restaurants and coffee shops and so on. And so they started with that. Then they move into online scheduling. So you can like make a reservation using Toast. Then they go into like employee payment. So like all the people that work in the restaurant, actually they handle the payroll. Then Toast moving to check in and check out. So all the configuration about the restaurant, where are people seated and so on. And then they're like, whoa, we owned all the data of our restaurant customers. Well, guess what? If the restaurant wants to expand a different office, and restaurants are usually cash flow poor, and they have a reputation, they want to expand into different offices. They usually need a loan to open up new locations. And Toast is saying, since we know everything about you, the restaurant, we will be the best lender in the world for you. And the reason we're the best lender is we know your revenue, we know your transactions, we know basically everything about you. And once Toast Capital got born, and Toast Capital is what lends to restaurants, and then they charge the lowest interest rate. They have the best risk profile, and better yet, Toast doesn't lose money because they have the first dip into the income that's coming in. So it's a win-win-win across the board. All the restaurant owners feel like their portfolio is well managed. All the restaurant owners feel like this is a company that really helped me as the restaurant owner. And this is why, by the way, if you have to ask me why a couple of weeks ago, a Block lay off 40% of their workforce, I think it's because Block is losing like customers to Toast. And if I'm a restaurant owner, why won't I choose Toast over Square and all this? Because they are the right software. They may not have the best payroll software for everyone, but they are the best payroll software for me as a restaurant owner. And that's what we want to be. We want to be a verticalized commercial real estate platform that goes end to end. For the similar reason that we will never be as good as Chase when it comes to banking, but for the commercial GPs, we might be the best bank for you because we know everything about commercial real estate. And that's where it came from. Okay. So with that being said, let me go into how can you create a bank and what does this banking mean and so on. And by the way, if you have questions, just feel free to ask in the chat there. Okay, cool. All right, so there's not actually much to demonstrate about banking. So I'm going to walk you through kind of this guided onboarding. And so the way you get started is once you create an account, you click on the word banking on the left-hand side. And then let's go over some of the logistics of banking. So from a tactical level, why do you want to choose Cashier Portal Bank? First, you can already distribute money through Cashflow Portal by connecting with your Chase. Like if you have a Bank of America and so on, it has a few drawbacks. One of the drawbacks is you do need to like have a customer success person with Chase, a relationship manager, and you also have to go or you go to a branch with Chase, right? And so that took a while to get it set up. You talk about like call it few like couple days to set it up and so on. And then the second one is when you try to receive money, like you try to get ACH funding, Chase takes about 3 to 5 business days for the LP funding to come to your account, unless they go to the bank and do a wire, in which case the LPs don't always are not close to a bank and they usually are on a vacation. This plays a role in the end of the year where you might want to close a deal very quickly. Okay, so the speed with Chase and with Bank of America is 3 to 5 business days to get the LP funding and LP distribution. Last year, actually a couple years ago, we had a customer that needed to distribute a bunch of money to then for them to invest into another deal. And that deal needs to be funded by end of the year for the LPs to capture the bonus depreciation. And so they were trying to distribute money in mid-December, actually close to late December. And because of the Christmas, it was not 3 to 5 days. It was 3 to 5 business days, not accounting the holidays. So it was taking like 5 to 7 days total. And they were freaking out. They were like, when I was doing distributions with Chase, it was next day. Why is that on your platform? It's 3 to 5 business days and it's taking a week. Thankfully, this is like 3 years ago. We sat down, we evaluated, and was like, hey, your money will arrive, and they barely arrive on December 30th. Their LPs still got the bonus depreciation. But that lesson planted the seed for me, say that is way too long. The customers don't know how much they will take, and Chase is like next day, and our platform, our banking transfer is taking 3 to 5 business days. A lot of you here are probably, have done some distribution with our platform, and this is what I'm talking about, 3 to 5 business days. And there's nothing we can do. Let me be a little bit more specific on why this is a lesson on why if you use our regular banking platform without using the Cashflow Portal bank itself, it takes about 3 to 5 business days. Let me go into here. I'm gonna take some notes here. Okay, so regular banking, so like basically banking rail, which is using this thing called Duala. This is called an ACH pool. This is a third party that's pulling money from Chase, which is the GP account, for example, and giving it to the it's called a Chase 2. This is the LP account. So it's a third party that is pulling money from one account, let it sit for 3 days, and then send it to a destination account. It has to sit for 3 days to prevent fraud. The reason is that when you draw money from an account, the originator can say, hey, I did not authorize this. You need to return the money back. So if that money goes into the destination and that there's still a 24-hour window or 48-hour window where the originator can pull out, that create a very, very good fraud opportunity. And so that's why all banking rails have to do 3 to 5 business days. Whereas with CFP bank or core bank, this is the core bank. By the way, as a disclaimer, we are not a banking institution. We're not a charter bank. We are partnering with core bank to bring all the core bank, charter bank's capabilities to the online world, to our customers. You're getting a core bank account. It's just that you are accessing it through CFP bank. This is very typical. If you are looking at some of our competitors, will be like ram.com, it will be like brex.com, it will be like mercury.com. These are the banks that are used by startups, and all we are just saying is Cashflow Portal added to the list. This is the bank for private equity firms in real estate. So that's all we say. Okay, so we're not a bank. Now, why is our bank so much faster? Because we are doing an ACH push. Is that we know your balance. As such, we don't have to wait 3 to 5 business days. It's next day. I hope that makes sense. Because we are pushing the money out. We are not pulling from a origin bank. So that's why we don't have to wait. We know exactly how much money is in your bank. We know that this goes out. Like there's enough money to push it out. And that is the fundamental unlock that by owning the actual balance, we are not depending on a third party that's pulling money and pushing money without knowing between two block boxes, because we know one of the block boxes is now open. Okay, so let me pause here on the speed. I hope that makes sense to folks. Maybe you can chime in on any questions or comments. Does that make sense? I'm going to pause a little bit here. Yeah, cool. All right, so that's the second one. That's the speed. All right, let's go into accounts. Now, the other part of our Chase Bank is that you have to go to a bank and create an account. And if you want to create another account, it's going to take you another while. With Cash Portal Bank, you can create arbitrary accounts under the same entity. So maybe you have a syndication entity, right? And you can create a operating account in which your property management company has access to. You can create a owner draws account in which only you have access to. You can create a CapEx account in which you have access to, and then or your general contractor has access to, and then you can create a distribution account. Creating, as soon as your entity gets approved, creating accounts is like a click of a button, like literally like a click of a button. That's like so easy. I have created an account here. Like I created an account over here. So if you look at my account, if I click on banking, so I create an account. This is my 2800 journey. I just put in like $1,000 here. I did it on January 5th, right? This is my account number and so on. And I can see my reward. I'm earning 1.5% rewards, cash rewards. Here, creating that account takes me like 5 minutes, which is that fast. It's pretty magical when you go through the whole process. Okay. So create an account. You can literally start raising money on the same day, which is powerful. And those LP funding will be next day or 2 business days as opposed to 3 to 5 business days. So you're gonna see the money in your account sooner, and I will talk about the fees and the rewards in a second. So that's creating an account. This is a neobank and so on. This is a neobank. It's online and you can access it from your Cash Portal dashboard. On the account side, people might say, if it's that easy, then do you have any permissions in place? Do you have any like guardrails in place? So that's what I bring to this point. If you go to company, go to members, when you add a member, you can determine what kind of permission they have. On the banking actions, they can do read-only, create entity, initiate payments, so you can differentiate between them. And you can also determine who has access to what banks. Okay, so this is all in the permissions. So the typical use case of this is you will give your GCs access to certain accounts. You will give your accountants access to other parts of your accounts. And so you'll give your accountant a read-only access. Yourself will be able to create entities and transfer money. But then maybe your certain parts of your property management company will only be able to initiate but not create entities and accounts. And this permission has been built in. Okay, so that's on the account side. Okay, let me cancel on this one. Let me go into banking. Let me go into guided onboarding. Okay, cool. Now, let's talk about the fees. Now, some of you also know that when you try to make an ACH funding, it's usually about $25 per ACH. And a lot of the GPs kind of do it as well because that's the only way. And like, we're not making that much money on the $25 per ACH because we literally take that $25 and pay Duwala about it. Like we pay Duwala. So here. So this banking rail, we actually just take that money and pay them. So we're like, okay, like GPs lose money. We don't make that much money. Like, what's the best way that we can take some of that consumer surplus and pass it on to our customers? And the answer is we create our bank. And when we create our bank, then it's only $1 per ACH as opposed to $25, up to $25 per ACH. So there's that. Now, just to be clear about this $1 ACH, we only charge $1 if you are making a distribution or do a funding, and a distribution is next day. Funding is take about 2 business days. And this is a little bit interesting. So why is distribution next day? It's because pushing from your bank account to LP is super easy, right? Because you know the money. Why is funding 2 business days? Is because at the end of the day, we don't know your LP's bank balance, if that makes sense. So there's that. Okay, but we can do 2 business days as opposed to 3 to 5 because we can push the money back if they say I did not authorize this payment. That's why the speed is faster as a result. Okay, so that's that. All right. But yeah, so thank you so much for the questions. So now for the outbound wire, that's $15 per wire. But then just know, inbound wire is free. And this is very important. Vendor payments is free. So we are only charging $1 for distributions and funding. If you want to pay your contractors, that's actually free. Okay, I want to be super clear. So it's not like we're charging $1 for every ACH. We are only charging $1 if it's a funding or distribution, which you are paying anyway on Cashflow Portal by linking with Duada. And then finally, between 2 accounts, I think John just asked a question about, hey, I have a GP account, I have an LP account, I have a management account, I have a property management company, and a property LC. Oh my God, you are like the perfect customer for us in that case. Transfer between accounts are free. It's supposed to be free and it's instant. Okay, and I want to be also say something that's very super clear on that. So the transfers between the accounts are free. With the international wires, by the way, that's not supported yet. Especially with making international wires, you can receive. I believe my team can correct me on that. You cannot make international wires. Okay, and then transfer the accounts is next day. Okay, yeah. So sometimes it's instant, but if you do it after 4 p.m., it's next day. Okay, so that's that. That's transferring accounts. Cool. Yeah. So I remember what I was gonna say. On the accounts and the feeds, one question you may have is, this is great. Thank you, Perry. But what if I don't have a deal on Cashflow Portal? Like I haven't started raising money, or that I'm not creating a deal for my GP bank account. Can I still put my GP bank account on Cashflow Portal? The answer is 100% yes. So if I go into banking here, let me show you. You can do add ownership entity. And then at the end of this step, you can tie that bank account to a deal, but you don't have to. So a GP bank account is actually a bank account that's not tied to any deal. And so you can 100% create a bank that's not tied to any deal. And that will be your GP account. Yeah. Cool. So it does not have to tie to a deal. So that's very nice. So that's what that's what the thing I forgot about. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's all good. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this idea of cash rewards. Okay, so with a popular feedback, we added this thing starting on March 1st. So any money that you deposited into the bank starting on March 1st will earn a 1.5% rewards. This is annualized. So let me do some math. So okay, so rewards, 1.5% rewards. So that means if you deposit $100,000, that is $100,000 times 0.15, you are earning this amount. Let me do that. I think it's $1,500. $1,500. Okay, that's pretty good. That's for one account. That basically pays for your Cashflow Portal account. Okay, so that's that. So it does not, even if you deposit $10, it still earns that 1.5% reward. That is a money that gets deposited into account right away. So this, so it's not a savings account, but it's basically it's cash reward. Basically, it's cash reward based on your balance. It's an annualized reward. Okay, you can think of it as interest. But it's not an interest-bearing account because legally there is some differences between the two. So there's that. Okay, all right. So that's that. John, wow, you have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Perry. I have more on my sheet. So actually it
Okay.
was on my to-do list for this week. So I'm glad you're doing this seminar. But I'm wondering the 1.5, how is it earned? Is it like a money market account? Can you talk about in specific if you know? Because within our fund we can be receiving interest, but we could be receiving profits
Yeah.
on
It's a
investment.
cash reward. It's not an interest, so it fits with your fund. I don't believe. Maybe the engineer can chime in. I don't believe you get a 1099 on that or 1098 on that. Can someone maybe Carter or someone can chime in? I don't believe like it's legally not interest. It's just a rewards. It's just cash rewards.
It's
Yeah,
kind
the
of like
cash
a
reward
credit card,
incentive.
right? Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
The cash reward incentive is paid by Cashflow Portal as an incentive for having money in the account. In the end, you won't get a 1099 interest, but you will get a 1099 MISC for tax purposes.
Can you repeat the last word, 1099?
You'll get a 1099 MISC instead of a 1099 INT.
Okay,
So for
right.
miscellaneous purposes.
Miscellaneous.
Yeah, that's right. It's a rewards. So I believe that's a good way for funds to do so. But don't quote me on that. Talk to your legal counsel on that. But that's the reason we did it. Okay. All right. Now, you might say, "Oh, Perry, 1.5 is kind of low, yo. Like right now, the interest rate is like 3." Well, we don't get 3% from our bank, so like we're passing as much as we can. That being said, in about 3 months to 6 months, we will introduce a treasury money market account. We'll introduce a money market account. In that world, you can earn about 3.4% to 3.6% on the money market account. So the strategy for the customers is you will use our bank for your operating account, and then anything in excess, you don't need more than $250,000 on your operating account. Anything additional to it, you should migrate it to your money market account, and that will also be supported by Cash Portal, but in 3 to 6 months. Okay, so yeah, Andrew, you have a question like, can different accounts be used for different entities? I believe an account has to be under one entity. Is that correct, Carter? Whether
Uh,
you
if you create an entity, then you can associate that with multiple deals, but they prefer if the account is attached to like whichever EIN it's for.
Yes. So the account needs to have an EIN. So you can't just be like, hey, I have a one account that's associated with like this EIN and that EIN. I don't think that's allowed even on Chase. And so we currently don't allow that. But you can create, like what I will do is I will create an entity that's more of a GP or like your own GP account, and then you can have multiple accounts that's tied to that entity. It's almost like a neutral entity that's for multiple purposes. So that's what I would do. Okay. All right. So let me harp on this 1.5% reward and also the 3.4 to 3.6% interest rate. I went through the whole journey as well myself of like I have a Chase account, which we have a Chase customer. We have been a Chase customer forever, and in one of my deals, we refinance. So we got like acquire a few $1 million back, and we keep about 200K in our checking account, and we use Chase's sweep account that basically sweep the money every day and then sweep it back out, and then so on and so forth. And that thing took us literally like I think a month to go back and forth to set it up. We had to send in so much documentation, and it's all through email. And so the money market account is in response to that, which is, I think all of you want this, which is I earn, and also on my Chase account, that 250K is earning 0% interest rate. The only money I'm earning is the 3.4 to 3.6 on my money market account. I don't earn any interest on my Chase account. And in this case, you are earning 1.5% rewards, which is crazy. Okay. This is really good. So that's that. Now you might say, hey, I'm using another bank, and this bank provides better rewards. So some banks do like 2.5% rewards for anything above 250K or anything above 100K. So I will say most GPs have about 250K at most in their operating account. If you have more than that, you really should be looking at a money market account. And so let's do some math. 250K in our world, 250K times 0.1%, that is equal to how much? That is equal to 3,750. Whereas if you take the approach of the 2.5% rewards for anything above 100K, so it's 0 times 100,000 plus 2.5% times 150,000. I hope that makes sense to you. And then that is earning about 3,750. 3750. Is this correct? Yeah. This is 35. So at up to 250K, you actually come out ahead. If you only invest, say, if you only have like 200K, then you are ahead in our program than the other version. Anything above it, yes, you kind of like come out better with the 2.5% rewards. But my argument is that anything above it, you should put it into a money market account anyway. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's on the reward side. This is okay. So that's also why our FDIC insurance is 250K. This number may go up in the future, but for our ideal customers currently, I don't think you should not have more than 250K because no amount of checking account can earn that much rewards unless you put it into money market. If you want to talk about like earning quote unquote interest, money market is the way to go. That's my opinion. Okay. Also, there's no monthly fee. This might change, but right now there's no monthly fee and then there's no minimum balance. It's pretty awesome. Let me pause here a little bit on these comments, any questions before I talk about kind of what else you can do. What's the other reason that we create our own bank? You can put in the questions there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, John, you had a question about does Core Bank use Zelle or Venmo? Carter, do you want to help answer that? I think once we with the Plaid integration, Venmo does work, right? But Zelle, I think we need to implement that. But would that be on the roadmap?
Yeah, with once Plaid integration, you should be able to connect it to a Venmo account. With Zelle, we do have a method of doing real-time payments that's on the roadmap, and those like kind of the same as the Zelle instant transfers.
Got it. Great. Cool. So Zelle and Venmo will be supported very soon. Okay. So what the online portal for the bank looks like. Oh yeah. So that is it. This is what it looks like. When you come in, you see all your transactions, you see all your documents, and then you can withdraw, you can transfer, you see your bank account number, and then if I click on this, you will see the account number and so on. So and then Li-Fen asks about any APIs with cloud accounting software. So if you're using QuickBooks, we will 100% connect with your QuickBooks. So there's that. Okay. Yeah. So that is both Li-Fen's question and John's question. Cool. All right. And then John also asked customer success. Your customer success is Casual Portal because we are the front of the bank. So any questions, you will basically schedule a call. You will email us. You can use like WhatsApp group and so on. That stuff. And then check and certified checks. I think we support checks, but certified checks, I think that's on the roadmap. Carter, is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. With the certified checks, let's see what the difference there.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. Cool. So that's that. All right. So yeah, the only thing that we are currently not supporting is international wires. That's something that's a little bit tricky. It's a difficult problem. Okay. So there's that. And then yeah, funding instructions, you can download this and so on. Okay. So that's on that. Now, let me head over to talk about how to get started and also talk about the underlying bank. So click on this, click on this. Click on next. By the way, when you click on next, nothing really like you're not like signing up by clicking on next. You get to learn more a little bit. For those of you who want to set up the bank, you basically will watch this video. So I'm gonna play this video just a little bit.
In this video, you're most likely on the same screen as I am here and are ready to click next and complete verification. However, if you have set up banking before, you may be accessing it through a pop-up, in which case you'll click continue. When you click next, you'll be redirected to complete verification with our banking partner, Core Bank. We can click continue on this first screen.
So you will see this screen, just so you know.
Provide information about your company. This should be the company or entity that manages the deal directly, not a personal or parent company. Here, we'll fill out things like the legal company name, company email address, the address, incorporation state, industry, and the tax ID or EIN. Then when we're complete here, we can click continue. And here we're going to input some information about the company's leadership. So this will be the CEO or founder of the company. Once we have this information filled out, we will select if this person owns 25% or more of the company.
By the way, let me pause here. If you are a LLC that is part of a syndication, and this is not your GP account, I assume that this number, you don't own more than 25% of the company. Now, don't take me on it. Talk to your legal counsel. But if you have a syndication, I don't think any individual owns more than 25%. Syndication, right? Like you don't own that much. So there's that. So this is the kind of the leadership of the company. And so for your GP, you definitely own more than 25%. But for the entity that owns the deal, usually you don't. Okay.
And after doing so, we'll click continue. Then on this screen, we can add any additional beneficial owners. This will be anybody who owns at least 25% of the company. Once you've completed that, or if there's nobody else, we can tick this box next to I've listed all owners at least 25% stake in the company. After this, we can click continue. Now on this page, we can take a look at all the information and confirm it's correct. And after we've done that, we can press submit.
Yeah.
Now that we've submitted, we'll be redirected back to Cashflow Portal. And after a moment here and the ownership entity is set up, we should arrive back at this You're All Set screen.
Yep.
From here, you can press See Your Account, which will show you your newly created entity and your first account, which was created automatically. You can click on the account to see more details. From this point, you can go and connect this account to a deal to begin accepting investment funding to the account, or you can press Add Funds to fund the account to start paying distributions.
Yep.
If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at support@cashflowportal.com.
Very good. All right. Okay. And Bob asks, how is this handle unfair or SEC rules? I don't know what that question tries to ask at. Creating a bank account has really nothing to do with SEC. So I hope I answered that correctly. And all of the guardrails underneath it is actually federal Fed operations. So, let me give a little bit more color on this our banking partner. So, we partner with this company called Increase.com. Core Bank is the charter bank. Increase.com is our banking bank as a service. So Increase.com is almost like Duada, but it's helping us connect to the core bank. Core Bank is a bank located in Omaha, Nebraska. They have about $1 billion in assets, and then they're chartered in 1977. Okay, they're one of the larger banks in Omaha and Nebraska area. And what they so Increase.com is, you can think of it as like this big bank as a bank as a service provider. They are super good with technology. We actually started banking like 2 or 3 years ago, and we were trying to partner with a different partner. And then we decided to back out of it and then partner with Increase.com. I love Increase. I think they are really, really good. We are talking to their engineers directly. Increase's founder is also, they came from Y Combinator, and their founder actually was one of the first, I believe, first 5 employees at Stripe. They quit Stripe, and then they started this company, and the company is doing very, very well. So one of the top 5 one of the first 5 employees at Stripe. So Increase provide all our rails, and if you go to Increase.com, you will see that they provide the rail for Gusto, which is a payroll provider. They provide the rail for Stripe as well, and RAM. It's like, holy cow, yeah, like these are all very, very big companies. So the security, the due diligence, a lot of kind of the legal and the technical expertise, they brought them with us. Like, it's not like we connect with the bank directly. We're connecting with the bank through a bank as a service. So we leverage. It's almost like think of Increase.com as the AWS. They handle a lot of the permissioning, handle a lot of the guardrails, handle a lot of the fraud, and that's why when you sign up, it's actually signing up on this kind of like this link. One second. Right here, like this. That's why the UI looks slightly differently, because they wanted a standard workflow. I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right. So that's on that side. Okay. So we talk about how to get started. We talk about the underlying bank, and then let me click on next on this one. Okay. So yeah. So like here, when I come in here, I will get to this page, and then that's allowed me to create my bank. Just note that the UI looks slightly different, but it's intentional because we partner with Increase.com. Okay. All right, so we went over all of this, and then let me talk about one last thing before I open up for more questions. John, you asked about the NAICS code. That's something our team can give you if team knows the answer. I think that's something like you just have to look at like what your business does. And yeah, I remember putting that in when I was setting up my bank account. Okay. All right. So let me go back to here and talk a little bit more about the vision. So I mentioned about Toast and how we want to become the Toast for commercial real estate. There are so many banks in the world. We're not saying we're better than Chase. We are saying that with our bank, you get a full bird's eye view of your back office. And that is becoming even more clear in today's macroeconomic environment, where you actually don't know how your deals are doing. Right now, the way you get to know how your deal is doing is you look at the accounting reconciliation the next month. So what that means is you can pay a very expensive plumbing invoice on February 11th, and you don't get to find out until March 25th which is the following, which is like 45 days later, you found out that you shouldn't have paid for that invoice, and you lost the momentum to correct. You gotta have your own property management software. You're gonna have your property management company, but won't you be nicer if you get an alert that one of your invoices is an anomaly payment? And there's no better way to know how your portfolio is doing than a bank that tracks insights and know the language of commercial real estate and gives you an alert. Say, hey, so-and-so, something happened. Do you want to take a look? Because that's not normal. And so it's very important then that you add the property management company to this bank. And guess what? With our bank, you can also, like, the entire history of the property is on that bank. So we can reconcile your books at the end as well. The property management company can reconcile it on the accounting side, but accounting is a 45-day lag. When the transaction happens on the bank, that's actually the source of truth. That's a 1 day lag or 1 hour lag. Big difference. And that 45-day versus 1 hour probably will make or break the business. Again, our goal again is to become the Toast for commercial real estate. And as part of that kind of transition, we just have to think a little bit bigger, think a little bit faster. Like Chase is great, but every startup now doesn't use Chase. Like every startup, we don't use Chase. We use Brax, which is basically like for startups. And my goal is to create the equivalent for real estate private equity firms. Okay. So be able to see how transactions happen. If there are any anomalies, you can call it AI native. I don't want to use that term, but yeah, it is a good monitoring system that with a true understanding of commercial real estate. So if a loan happen, we know that's a loan. If contractor happen, we know that's a contractor. We know because there's a finite number of things we can classify. Whereas with other banks, there's like arbitrary many things, so they never attempt to classify them, if that makes sense. John also asked a question. Let's shift gears a little bit into bookkeeping and accounting. Thank you so much for asking that. Oh my gosh. So let me go into here. The other reason is that we want to create our own bank is if you go into a fund or even a syndication, and then if I go into, say, fund admin, there is now ability for you to put in the income, put in the expenses, put in the net income, and then allocate this appreciation or this increase in NAV onto your LPs, right? That's all part of our fund admin package. But what we don't have is these numbers now are manually put in. Okay. But once you use the bank, these numbers are automatically filled out. Like actually, they are filling out every day as opposed to 45 days later. So your accounting gets faster, your bookkeeping gets faster. We have a complete data about what's going on. Something we will ship in a couple years is eventually there will be an AI assistant, and then you can just talk to it like, hey, what happened last month? Can you tell me how I can improve my performance? It's bringing asset management into the AI world. But in order to do that, we need to have data. Like without data, just not much we can do. And then if you want to try to connect with your bank, it's a mess. Like we don't have all the metadata. We want to know everything about the operation. We're no longer just an investor portal. We are truly a operating system for commercial real estate that combines fund admin, banking, underwriting, CRM, and investor portal. When you combine all of them, it's literally the toast for private equity firms in commercial real estate. Yeah, so that's that. I know I harp on that point a lot this webinar. I'm really excited. Maybe folks can put in the chat on like what you're thinking and any questions. If you are bought into that vision, if you feel like this is gonna be useful for your business.
Yeah, Perry, this is great, man. If you can just double tap on the accounting, what it's gonna actually look like in terms of within the fund and also for the LLCs, which they hold the assets under the fund itself. From a point of view of bookkeeping and segregating the books, I know you guys do the K1s, but then on the fund level, for the K1s, the 1099s, how is that going to look like? Are you going to get us in touch with the partners you guys working with, and what portion you feel like the AI is going to take over, and a physical person actually going to have to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our accounting and bookkeeping is a concierge service that all we need is access to your bank account. And if you're using our bank account, we don't need even ask for you for access. And so we, on a monthly basis, we will do all your books. We will record them on Cashflow Portal. So, for example, this is all the income. Some of them is operating income. Some of them is interest income. We record all your expenses. This is both recorded on the portal. And once we have our own accounting software, we also will record it on our accounting software. Right now, we record it on QuickBooks. We help you allocate down to the investors, and then it will be allocated to all the investors. From an investor perspective, they get this beautiful kind of account statement that tells them what's their capital balance and what is their operating balance. Also, for every investor, you can quickly take a look at their K1 drafts on an ongoing basis, because all of this number is auto-generated. So you can see here, you can see their K1 here. This is a draft K1. This is and then there's the beginning balance, ending capital balance, and so on. Yep. The bookkeeping will be separate for each LLC. So if you have a parent LLC that owns all of them, you basically need the K1 from that LLC and then to form the K1 for your parent LLC. Accounting and bookkeeping is a big part of what we do. And so here's what I will say. Let's go here. All the people that are using funds or need accounting and bookkeeping, please give a call with us. Go on a consultation and strategy call. You will be using the Funds Plus. This one is for syndications. Okay, this one is for Funds Plus. Okay, and so all the funds, you're looking at the middle column. I hope that makes sense. And the way to schedule demo, it's just schedule demo on that. We can walk you through going from, so this includes professional bookkeeping service, allocation service, accounting service, and then at the end, there's also the K1 prep and the tax return. For the folks that are doing flexible funds, meaning you're investing into multiple assets and you want your investors to get a unified K1, a single K1, and the Funds Plus is the way to go. And it starts at $12,000 a year, which is $1,000 a month. That's the base price. And that includes the bookkeeping, the investor portal, the waterfalls, the investor allocations, and the accounting. Okay, so that's the price that you're looking at. And that's this is actually probably one of the most popular offerings in the recent months, because the word has gotten out that we can do accounting, we can do allocations, and we can do fund admin. If you check our YouTube channel, I think a couple of months ago I did a YouTube video on fund admin. So go to while you're at it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And on the YouTube channel, you should be able to find our fund admin YouTube video, and that explains on what we do for accounting and bookkeeping. Okay. But yeah, this call is about is on the banking side. But yeah, I know that may not answer your question fully, but just rest assured that our team is very, very versed in the accounting and the bookkeeping side. Just schedule a call and we can look more into your situation. We have seen all kinds of stuff. We have seen like folks that like take international money. We have seen like they bought the building and they want to like recapitalize. And we have seen, they already raised some of the money and they want to add more tranches. Seen it all. So there's that. Cool. So we went through a bunch of things with 4 minutes left. Any other questions? Any other comments? Cool. Thanks, everyone. And then to get started, click on banking. Just create a bank. You don't, you can easily create a bank. Try to put in, try to raise money using that bank to see the experience. I think the experience is gonna be amazing. So you'll see it. We have a few customers already using it, and we just launched in January. So there's that. Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.